Hi folks, my name is Jerry Potts. I'm a 28-year resident of Medfield. Been blessed to have 3 of our children who have gone through the Medfield public schools and survived the Memorial, the Blake, and the high school renovation projects. I've also been proud that in almost every meeting that I've attended where there's been an issue on the schools, I've been an enthusiastic supporter, not just voting, but often speaking in support of our schools. So it saddens me to think that there will be a vote later this year that'll be the first one that I'm going to have to vote no on. And that's the site selection for a new school, which I totally support, but in perhaps one of the worst areas that we could consider putting it, which is at the current Wheelock location. So what we're going to do is provide you videos that go through what the thinking is. And I've heard from the SBC and Mike Quinlan that the Dale at Dale coalition is somehow spinning, misinformation from some Russian bot. I don't know what the issue is. In all the situations, we've actually pointed to specific documents. What we thought would be more helpful is to actually go through a video, and we're going to do a series of these on the topics, and you can be the judge. Hopefully this helps enlighten you on some of the thinking we have on why we're so passionate about keeping the school at Dale and by leaving Wheelock alone. So let's get into it. Here are the common misconceptions that we're going to address that we've heard. The Wheelock site is much larger. It's on 44 acres. I've heard this. 2 selectmen use this as the reason that they thought Wheelock was a better location. We'll talk about it. The water and open space concerns are exaggerated. They're scare techniques by the Dale at Dale coalition. Totally not a concern. We'll talk about it. Keeping Dale at Dale costs more. Renovation is obviously more expensive. Well, we'll talk about that as well. And Dale Street would need to be a smaller school because the space is so limited. Well, let's get into it. The documents I'm going to use, it's 1, District and Professional Team's response to MSBA, comments on PSR, dated February 8th. I'll reference the page numbers for each of this. This is basically not my document. This is a public document. I encourage you to look at it. You can check your facts against what I'm saying. Okay, let's answer the first 2 questions. The water and open space, and also the 44 acres. Let's get right into it. The well protection is not something we're manufacturing. This is from page 21 of the document that I just referenced. This is a well protection line, green, and this tan line is an archaeological protection district. There are 2 wellheads here. You can see the distance. There's also wetlands, wetlands, wetlands. There's wetlands all around here, open fields. This is purposely left open because it is a sensitive area for our water supply. You'll notice the only addition that I've done, the only change I've made to their chart is that I've put a red box, which is the approximate size of the build site. And you can see squarely that the build site is inside the well protection and also the archaeological protection. Now, does this mean we could not build in this location? If this was the only location that we had in the entire town, I would begrudgingly probably have to support it. But we know that isn't the case. And I'll talk about how much more cost is associated with having to build in this location later. But what I can tell you is we have a great option that's already in place that's called Dale Street. So this archaeological, this well protection is very real. The build site is within those. You can be the judge when you look at the well protection and soon our water treatment plant. When you see all of our water resources here, if it's smart to build a large building here, I personally don't think it is. Secondly, the 44 acres. Yes, there is technically 44 acres at this site. This is the black line, the dotted line that follows it. However, the build site is not 44 acres. There are 5 soccer fields that are not going to be touched. There's the entire current Wheelock campus that isn't going to be touched. This is the space we're talking about. So I'm going to drill in a little bit deeper to take a look at comparable size between Dale, current Dale, projected Dale, and this Wheelock location. So if I take the Dale Street school that's being projected, I like that they call it Dale Street, and you look at the Wheelock school and you look at the road over here, I just want you to sort of look at the benchmarks, the landmarks around here so you can get a sense for the size and the scale of this building. There's the existing softball field. You'll see this location over here. This is 98,000 square feet of school, and look at the space that it takes up. Now, here's the projection so you can visualize it a little bit more. This is not my drawing. It's from the SBC. It's part of the project. But here's the projection of the size. And you'll notice there's a soccer goal here, soccer goal here. So I'm using soccer math here to say that this is about 2/3 of these 2 fields. If I look at the Dale Street and I take the current Dale Street campus and drop it in to scale into that same location, lo and behold, it's filling up about 2/3 of that location. So yes, while the current Dale Street is only 63,000 square feet, there were projections of the 98,000 square feet and actually even more than that. And when you look at that, it easily is comparable in size to what the new build site is at Wheelock. So the current Dale Street certainly could encapsulate a 98,000 square foot building. If you were to get creative and think about the FAF Center and a multi-use, this is what it would look like. Now, I fully understand MSBA will not reimburse us for fixing the FAF Center, nor should they. But if we're building a very large building here that has excess capacity, which it will on day one, using it for some of Park and Rec's needs after school and during the summer when the building is empty is just smart town planning and should be considered when we're looking at the building at Dale Street at Dale. Let's get into the cost side of it. So I've tried to address sort of the location, the concerns about space, etc. Now let's get into the cost, which I know there's been a lot of misinformation on. And it's not coming from us, because here is the data. Okay, this is from page 27. And I'm looking at the preferred schematic report for 3 options. The ad reno at Dale, new construction at Dale, new construction at Wheelock. You can see that on the left-hand side. And what you'll see is the total gross square foot that was used for the projection of the Dale Street renovation is almost 115,000 square feet. It is 16,664 more than the new construction options. And when you look at the total additional cost, that adds up to $9 million more. So 560 per square foot, I'll show you where I got that on the next slide, times 16,000, almost 17,000. That is the differential that we're looking at in the cost here. Okay, you can just do a quick gut check over here. Here was the preliminary design. There's 104 versus 98. This is actually 4,000 less. 4,000 less, even though there's 6,000 more square feet. Now, how can that be the case? Well, the 17% increase that they projected, let's go through what it actually flows through on the numbers. And again, this is from page 24 and 25, not making the numbers up. Let's go to the estimated total construction and cost per square feet. And I'm going to look here. Here's the 560, the cost per square foot. This is for the ad renovation. It's $589 for new construction at Dale Street. And here's the all-in for new construction at Wheelock, $630 per square feet. So even by my math, we're looking at $70 more per square foot on the construction cost per square foot. Here's the main driver, cost of site work, almost $10 million in option G, $5.4 million in option B1, the ad renovation. So again, these are just the numbers that they projected. This also includes, by the way, about somewhere between $1 to $2 million between these 2 options at Dale Street for modulars that we don't need to house students during the construction, because we have excess capacity in our schools, about 300 at the Blake Middle School, that could easily take 5th grade at no additional cost. But that being said, you're still looking at a much lower average cost here. So let's flow this through. Just for an exercise to provide an apples to apples comparison, applying the cost per square foot of $560 to a 98,000 square foot building, that would cost us $55 million. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can ask yourself why they chose 115,000 square feet, 17% more. I think they did it for 2 reasons. Number one, to do the shock and awe of dropping a much larger building in the Dale Street location, which takes up certainly a lot more space, but it also adds $9 million more in expenses. It makes the Dale ad reno look much less attractive. And I can't really think of any other reason why you would put such a much larger cost associated with an ad renovation. Now let's get into the facts on the actual site. State statute says the site shall be chosen. It'll meet educational need, maximize the use of available community resources, and minimize any possible adverse educational effect. These are the state statutes used for site selection. And they specifically address such adverse impact shall include new sewers, roads, transportation, water supply, water connections, and other public infrastructure to the site. All of that exists at Wheelock. None of that exists at Dale. It also talks about the idea that the site selected shall be proximate to other facilities such as libraries, museums. This is not my opinion. This is the state statute on this. natural resources, nature study, businesses, which would enhance. Well, let's look at the two sites and you can be the judge. Dale Street has a downtown location, vibrancy and density, you can see this. The red circle is a half-mile radius around the Dale Street School. There are approximately 800 abutters, approximately 58 are businesses. It's estimated that 30 to 40 kids walk to Dale Street every day, and you can see why. There are all of these residential units that are within walking distance within this half mile. Let's look at the Elm Street location for Dale. Low density, lots of open space, and water protection. Here is the circle of a half mile from Wheelock. What do you notice? Lots and lots of green, lots of water. Here's a stream. This was purchased by the town many years ago to preserve our natural resources. And there are only just about half, 408 abutters within this circle. It is a much lower density area. So when we look at net, the Dale Street location, you're looking at walking distance to almost all of the businesses that folks go. The library, Hinkley Pond, all of these are about a 10 to 12 minute walk. If you look at Wheelock, you're looking at between a 26 to 36 minute walk, whichever location. You can pause it and take a look, but that's according to Google for both of those locations. So in summary, when you recap these common misconceptions, both locations will give an excellent school for our children, but one does it with a much greater negative impact to our town. So when you hear that the Wheelock site is much larger, the actual build site is much smaller actually than the 44 acres, and it's comparable to the current Dale Street. Both can fit a 98,000 square foot building. The water and open space concerns are exaggerated. I showed you a couple of slides that showed exactly where it's placed in the well protection area, all of the surrounding green. You can be the judge, but we believe they're very real and that the location presents a much greater cost and risk than you're being presented. Keeping Dale at Dale Street costs more. I think I went through it. The cost projections for Dale were based on 16,000 more square feet. The total cost for Wheelock, if you were to look at the average cost per square foot, the total costs, including what we're going to do with Dale, are much greater. And this is just fact. And finally, Dale Street would need to be a smaller school because the space is so limited. I think I showed you no scenario was presented to the town that had less than 98,000 square feet, both at Dale and at Wheelock. So it's simply not true that somehow the Dale Street location is more constricted. It can easily fit a 98,000 square foot school, a little more pressed with 115,000, but I think if you drop that same size into the Wheelock location, you'd be encroaching on a lot of more open space. So hopefully you found this informative. If you have questions on it, feel free to reach out to us. You can do that on the Dale at Dale website. You can also attend the forums. We hope you'll consider at the vote in May in the town meeting to vote with us on Article 29 to ask the town to reconsider the location while we still can. While we're still in the feasibility study, there have been lots of examples where the MSBA has been flexible at this point. We feel much less confident if the vote fails in the fall that they would allow us to make a change to it. We probably would have to wait 18 months to 2 years, maybe longer, to get back in the program. But right now, we believe is still an opportunity for us to go to the MSBA and make the right choice, which we believe is Dale at Dale.